When we talk so much about the hate coming from the church, the hypocrisy, the division out there, it can leave us feeling a little down. And when we go so deep in our journey coming out of damaging religion, we often miss the beauty along the way. So today we want to remind us all of the joy we have found on our journey of deconstruction and talk about 30 freeing things we have done. Beloved, your heart really deserves this.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
Well, hello and welcome to the FreedHearts podcast. My name is Robert Cottrell, and I'm here as always with
Susan Cottrell.
Hi.
Hi.
You looked at me so determined when you said that. Susan Cottrell.
I thought about making a joke and saying another name, but I didn't.
Wow. What name would you have said?
No idea.
Well, hi.
Hi.
Welcome, everyone. Again, connect with us at freedhearts.org. We are a listener-supported podcast, meaning you're not going to hear any ads on here. We are not monetized in any way. The only way all of this is possible is through the kindness of people like you. If you like what we do, if you listen, if you think it has value, support the show. It would mean a lot. Thank you very much. Much of what we have been talking about recently, we talked about, does the church actually teach us to hate ourselves and to hate God, and what do we do with all that hate? And then we talked about how the Bible is used as a weapon and all this. We talk about all the hate. We talk about all the hypocrisy and the division, the conflict out there. And certainly we see it now on social media, especially during an election year. Sometimes it can leave us feeling a little bit overwhelmed, a little stressed, a little down. And I think because of that, I know for me, we can often forget about the freedom that we have found on this journey and all the joy that goes with that. And I was recently really moved by something that our friend Jim Palmer, hi Jim, wrote, and I wanted to share that with you today. It talks about 30 freeing things, I'll say that 30 times fast, 30 freeing things we did after we deconstructed from religion, especially that false teaching, rules-based, non-affirming, fundamentalist Christian religious teaching. So we're just going to talk today, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that all right with you?
That sounds great.
Just talk. So we'll go through these things, and 30 sounds like a lot, but it's good. It's a lot of good things, but it's not a long episode. So stay with us, and I'll list them, and you can talk and share your thoughts, and we'll just go through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Number one, again, these are freeing things we did as we and after we deconstructed from religion. Number one, made peace with my evangelical past.
Yes.
Yeah. To me, that's like, we did the best that we could with what we were given and what we knew. Mm-hmm. And as we learn more, we did better.
Yes.
We talk about the anger not being at the people, but being at the system. Mm-hmm. And I think, so I don't want to be angry at our past selves for the things we used to believe.
We don't deserve it.
No, it's the system, and you don't either, beloved. It's the system you were under. You did the best that you could at the time, and when we learned better, we did better.
Yeah, and somebody asked me on a podcast when I was the guest. They said, "Do you regret that time that you spent in the church all that time?" And it was a really good question. And I had to say, I don't. I mean, I would maybe, except that it positioned me to understand the problems here, the problems with it, and what people are going through in this community that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. Yeah. And as you said, we were always acting in good faith and did what we knew. And, I think my biggest regret is I really got to be a know-it-all, judgmental and arrogant. And I really hate that. But
and even but
I forgive myself. I did what they taught me to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and even in our evangelical past, we we were accused of taking grace too far.
Yeah.
And we were
outliers there
and
too.
I was a worship leader, and I would reword some of the songs so it wouldn't be so I thought it would be more focused on Jesus and less
what we
on,
already had, not what we're trying to get.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I had someone ask me a question recently, and they said, I know why, I bet I can tell you why you changed your mind, why you deconstructed. And it was because it's the way you could justify your gay child.
Yeah, we've heard that a million times.
Do you think you would feel the same way today if your child wasn't gay? And I would say, yeah, I think it would have taken us longer, but I sure the hell hope so. But yes.
Yeah, it would have taken some kind of that helped us see what was going on.
Yeah, I think we
that
sensed
was a good
it.
way.
I think we sensed it, but those kind of issues were not really, as we have talked in recent episodes, they're just set aside. We don't talk about those things, but
we sensed there were some really big problems.
Yeah.
But that was what pierced the whole armor for us and broke the box open.
And that kind of leads to number 2 on this list, and that's we took responsibility for our spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And that, that was, and you have always been really spiritual, but you really took on the task. You opened that box. You opened yourself up to all this incredible spiritual growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that it?
I was thinking, well, it's God and me. It's not all the middlemen, the church leaders that have to be involved. This is kind of like when I went through my health journey. It's like my doctor's team and me, not 40 people in between trying to tell me what to do.
Yep. That was breaking free. We took responsibility. We no longer deferred to religious leaders or someone else to tell us what about God, God, Spirit, the universe. We trusted our hearts to hear.
And you really don't have to. You really don't have to defer to the religious leaders.
Yeah. Yep. Number 3 is we stopped dividing up the world into sacred and secular. And
or saved and unsaved.
Or us versus them.
Right. Right.
And when you do that, I think it prevents you often from seeing the humanity in the sacred.
Absolutely.
And it prevents you from seeing the sacred in the world.
Yeah.
That's not labeled as religious.
Yeah. You don't see Jesus in your neighbor if you know they're not a Christian.
Yeah, that's right.
That's tragic.
That's right. Yeah. Or in other religions or other faiths, or just the person you meet. You know, it's always like, well, are you Christian? Are you a believer?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what a beautiful thing there.
Yeah.
Number 4 in this was we began listening to and trusting our inner voice, our heart. This is something you've heard us say a lot, is that, and we hope Jesus made a point of saying, and that's that, the Spirit will lead you in all truth, and your heart's good.
Your heart's good.
And your heart, again, I know some of you out there have this come up when you hear that, but what about the passage where your heart is
deceitfully wicked,
deceitful, which is deep.
Right. It's really, your heart is deep.
Your heart is deep.
Yeah. It takes some deconstructing.
Right. Hey, good idea. That's why we're doing this.
But your heart can be trusted. In fact, your heart is the most trustworthy thing you have. It's how spirit resonates. Your spirit resonates in your heart.
Yeah.
And you don't have to get approval for that.
Well, what an unsettling thing
to
be told that you can't trust your heart.
Can't trust your own heart.
You have your gut feeling, your heart. You feel that you hear that still small voice, but then there's this, I can't trust that. I know that's right. I know that's right. No, I can't trust that. What a maddening thing.
What a insidious thing to do.
And just on the opposite of that, what a beautiful thing to have your heart spirit tell you something and hear that and go, yes. And there's a peace that comes with that.
Yeah. I heard Louise Hay once said, she was talking about the different things, body parts and where we put our trauma or whatever. And she said, she was talking about a heart attack, and she said, your heart doesn't attack you. Why would your heart attack you? But we call it a heart attack, but it's not. It's doing all that it can do to help you live and survive. You're not at war with your heart. And I love that.
Yeah.
You're not at war with your heart.
Yep. That's right. Number 5, we started looking past labels and started seeing the uniqueness of every human being. Boy, that's when you
huge.
open that box, when you get out of that us versus them teaching of contempt, out of those labels, be it denominational, religious, class, gay, straight, whatever it is, you can see people as human beings.
You start loving people.
Yeah, that's right.
What's not to love?
Yeah. Number 6 was quit making my own humanity the enemy. And we talked in a recent episode about how the church teaches us to hate ourselves, which is our humanity. If we believe the false church teaching that it's fallen, that we're all rotten to the core, then what's to love? That is our enemy. We don't want that anymore. We want to do something but it's not. You're not, and we stop making our own humanity, ourselves, the enemy. We stopped hating ourselves.
Yeah, it's like you need this foreign substance of God who is foreign to you, obviously, because you are so not, you're so rotten. That's what you need to have to come and change you. It just doesn't even stand up to scrutiny. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and humanity, this is the human experience we're having, and it's not nasty. It's good.
That's right. It's not the enemy.
Yes.
Number 7, resisting the need to build a persona around being an enlightened person. I think that's really good, especially when you
so true.
Of course, in certain denominations, the Catholic Church, there's a definite hierarchy, but even in the evangelical church, there's certainly those. We ran into that in the first church we ever went to, which was a pretty progressive church. They're still the leaders.
Where we were.
Yeah, there's the leaders, and there are the home church leaders, and there are the cell group leaders, and then the followers, and there's still that. So you tend to look at people, and I think that's true of the megachurch pastors as, wow, that's an enlightened person. And it's easy sometimes when you come out of that, think, oh, okay, well, I'm an enlightened person. No, I'm just on the journey with you. We're just on this journey together.
Yeah, rather than a ladder, a hierarchy, it's more of a web, a net that we're all interconnected. And that is such a more empowering way to view us all in relationship to each other instead of hierarchy. I'm enlightened. Yeah. You're not, but I'll help you get enlightened. That's patronizing.
Yeah, I wonder how that feels to the person you say that to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Number 8, open myself up to the rhythm and flow of life in nature. I'm not a big outdoor guy. Okay, I prefer a hotel room.
Yeah.
I'm not a camping guy. I always say roughing it to me is no room service. So, but being in the Pacific Northwest, as we are, the Seattle area, that I've grown to appreciate that. And I think that. I mean, sometimes you hear in the church the anti-environmentalist, well, at least I'm not a tree hugger kind of thing, as if that's wrong, that we're enemies with nature.
Yeah.
And I think one thing this deconstruction has opened up for us is opened us up to the rhythm and flow of life in nature. You love like barefoot in the grass.
I have really gotten into going out and walking among the trees. There's a little copse of trees right at the end of our block, and I just walk over there. It's just so beautiful. I never appreciated it before like I do now.
Yeah. Number 9, this is a great one. Number 9, stopped looking for the meaning of life and discovered what it meant for me to live my life meaningfully.
That is so beautiful.
And we've talked about this just here in the house about, always searching for the answer or looking for the next thing to be there. And I think that it's easy sometimes to especially coming out of the church, when you start to deconstruct, it's like, well, what's true, what's not true, what's the meaning of life, what is my purpose, all this kind of stuff, instead of, how can I live my life meaningfully? Be it loving someone, being the impact I can have on someone else, being,
Yeah. And if we hear a lot, well, God has a wonderful plan for your life. Well, what does that look like? I do think we come here with sort of kind of lessons we want to learn for ourselves, what we come here to accomplish, to learn to love bigger, to use our gifts fully. But it's not like, well, that was God's plan, but you missed it. Now you're going to have to get one that's not God's best for you. All this, it's like a school grading system, and you missed it. You've missed the scholarship level. Now you're just going to be barely passing.
Well, and that God has a plan. Let's just do the, what's the Bible that has all the expanded words? What's that called?
Yeah, Amplified.
Yes, Amplified. Let's just expand that okay. For a second. Monster God has a plan for your life, you wretched soul. Who he can't even stand looking at because of your sin.
Right.
That's a plan.
He'll
I want to hear.
do some trick looking at Jesus.
Yeah. So we have to accept that God has a plan for your life in the midst of all the hate that the church teaches us for ourselves and for God.
Right.
That doesn't work.
Right. What kind of a plan does the monster God have? That's a good point.
And I think meaningfully does not mean like, oh, I got to change the world. No, it just meaningfully means where where it's almost like in your heart.
It resonates.
Yeah, it resonates.
It's meaningful to you.
Yeah, meaningful to you. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Not meaningful to others. That's a trap.
Yeah.
But meaningful to you. And that kind of spark, that kind of light touches people, and it changes people, and it changes the world,
Yes.
Number 10, applied myself to addressing the root of my suffering. And this is an interesting one. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually had a little conversation ahead of time about that one, because it can be a little tripping of us, but I feel like to dive into what is really going on, decisions I made when I was 7, or, like nobody really hears me. Yeah. I'm not heard. That was a recent one I discovered, that kind of excavating my own self. Almost, that's not an endless thing either. I feel like anything I say here can be taken off in a direction that's not helpful. But my journey is my journey. I think that's really what it comes down to.
I love that.
Looking in my own soul, my own being, for the root of my suffering, that I am the one in charge of my suffering or happiness. And there are all kinds of circumstances. So it's not blaming the victim either.
Right.
But my growth, my overcoming is in my court. There's nobody else who can do that for us.
I love that take on that. Yeah. And I think that's looking, like you talk about going and talking to the little child, the little Susan. Mm-hmm. And then I think also we've talked in the past about, or just recently on an episode about not continuing to give people power who hurt you a long time ago. Things like that. It's just, your journey is your journey on this.
Yes.
And that's the perfect journey for you.
And much of the root of my suffering is believing lies.
That's true.
That I was taught, that I took in.
Often about yourself.
Yeah. That I'm not worth it, or people won't fight for me, or whatever it is, or God doesn't love me, or any of those things. Or that's how I
deserve to be treated, or whatever it was. Yeah.
Or if you're gay, you can't belong, or whatever it is. Right.
That's good. Yeah.
Diving into my own wisdom on that.
Yeah, it's good. I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Number 11, I paid attention to my deepest desires and passions.
That is a good one.
That's a good one. Because often in the church, we're told we have to set all those aside. And
Often in life.
In life, yeah. But it's
Often from our parents or...
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I've been doing a lot of soul searching myself, just soul growth. And it's been very exciting recently. And I'm actually we're going to do another episode later on some of this. But I've been diving into what do I want? What do I want right now? Do I want to write or do I want to do art? Do I want to eat the leftover chicken for dinner or would I really rather have the sushi? You know, and giving myself what I want. And us, we have our desires for a reason and they're to guide us and they're not evil.
Well, yeah, what a weird thing and what a very, very soul destroying thing to be taught that your desires are wrong and your passions are wicked but passion is what, people with passion and desires are who often change this
Yes.
the world.
Yes.
Be it a passion for feeding the hungry or a passion for
Yes.
creating art or music or a passion for the theater or a desire to stand against oppression and make a difference and all those kind of things, as well as simple things. But but when you're taught that is at a core, even the smallest desires and passions, you can feel selfish for, and you shouldn't.
We're taught to feel selfish for our own desires, but who does it serve? It serves those who want us to use our desires for them.
Yeah. Who want to tell us what to do and feel. That's right.
Yeah.
For their benefit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Go for it, beloved. Go for it. Listen to your desires and passions. Go for it.
I love that. You tell me that all the time. I really love it.
Number 12 is cast off my people-pleasing facade and become a more authentic and fully expressed me. Yeah, no,
Good.
This is not anything you haven't heard us say before, but yeah, I mean, it's one thing we discovered a lot when we opened the box that we had God in was the box that we had ourselves in, and how not non-authentic, inauthentic we were, and how we were not fully expressing ourselves. And that's the thing we talk to a lot of LGBTQ people that that's your biggest witness right there to the world is the beauty of your fully expressed self, the beauty of your authentic self. No one can stand against that because it is a spark that cannot be put out.
Yes. Biggest contribution witness is such a Christian.
I know, that's true.
No, I just want to, for people who
contribution to the world.
Yeah.
Christian trigger. When
I was in junior high, my older sister had a boyfriend. We were very middle class and very dysfunctional, but she had a boyfriend who was from River Oaks, the nearby wealthy area. And for some reason, my brother and I went with her over to his house together for some, I don't know. And so we were sitting on the edge of the sofa in this rich person's house, right? And he said, "Do you want Coke or Dr. Pepper or something?" And my brother and I both sat there and we're like, no, thank you. Because we're just so scared to say, we're so afraid of putting somebody out.
Yeah.
And it was so much more awkward. And finally, I think my sister said, "I'll have a Coke." And so I said, "Okay, I'll have a Dr. Pepper." It was like, and the boyfriend was like, "Oh, good. I can serve you something good," instead of this kind of weirdness that, no, I have no needs and no desires. I don't know if you can get the picture from what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there where we don't want to put people out. And so we're just like, "No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm fine. Don't bother yourself."
Yeah.
But it's more of a bother to sit there awkwardly than just to go get a glass of ice and a Coke.
Right.
And I
know we talk about sometimes wanting to do the right thing, be the right thing, live up to expectations and people pleasing, but we do it in this way too. And
we do it in
not wanting to be a problem, not wanting to be a bother.
Yeah, and that's not fully expressed.
Yeah,
and
that's
today,
not authentic. Yeah,
I would say absolutely.
you have a cherry?
Do you have cherry Dr. Pepper? Oh, okay. Well, okay. Regular's okay.
Number 13.
Yeah,
Number 13. We explored the connection between mind, body, and spirit.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
We are it's all interconnected. You cannot cut the body off as evil and the spirit is good. And the mind is trying to shove your body down.
Gosh, the church puts down yoga and puts down meditation and all this kind of stuff because it's not part of it. It can't control that. It's set itself up to be something else. And so those are potential threats to open people's up.
It's Eastern religion or Eastern.
That's right.
For their point of view. But
so, yeah, I know. It's all connected.
It's all God's.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's all God's. Yeah.
And we expanded, number 14, expanded our relational world beyond religious subculture. You know, back in the evangelical church, it was even to the point where, you don't raise your kids using this method? Oh, okay. Or you don't homeschool your kids? Oh, okay, well, hi. You're in this denomination. And oh my gosh, what a limited thing. It keeps us, it's encouraged, or at best, not discouraged, I guess, to do that. But it's how you keep your people in line.
Yeah.
It's how you keep your people dependent on the community the quote community that you've created in this particular church, denomination, location, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But wow, we didn't realize how
myopic
beautiful,
that view was,
and how beautiful the world is out there.
Yes.
All these wonderful.
It's amazing. There are people that are really interesting and good and fun that aren't Christians. It's a shock, I know, but it's true.
I know. Number 15, resisted creating a new religion out of my latest discovery. That hasn't been too difficult because I think we were never big time pro religion anyway. But I understand though. I understand what that means is that, if you don't believe this exact thing, then like a new religion out of that.
Yeah.
No.
Or now I'm an atheist, so I don't even want to hear about anything else.
Right.
Yeah. None of that.
And we sometimes deal with that in Facebook groups and communities of people that were like, oh, well, you're still this, so I don't want to, that's out there still. But I think that is not the best way to be. I understand the triggered reaction on that, but so we don't want to create a new religion out of our latest discovery. Number 16, operated with the assumption that every human being knows something I need to know.
Love it. I love it.
And that is so true.
So true.
I mean, that's like, everybody has their own journey.
Yeah.
Everybody has something we don't know
and everybody is their own microcosm of God, their own hologram of God. What's not to embrace in another iteration of God? Okay. Yeah.
Number 17 is we begin to see all people as participants in our deepening and liberation.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That everybody, almost like in 16, everybody can contribute. There's something to learn everywhere. And even going back to number 15, where you don't want to attach yourself to a new guru, a new leader, a new religious leader, a spiritual leader.
Yeah.
You want to not take what you've learned and put it in a new box.
Yes. Yep.
Number 18, explored new fields and areas of interest that were largely unknown to me. Like Harry Potter. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's so many things, or like science.
Yeah.
I mean, you love Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I do.
But I'm not sure many in the evangelical church do.
Yeah.
But
because he likes science. He thinks science is real.
What's the meme we shared that a scientist will read hundreds of books, if not thousands of books in their lifetime and still know they have so much to learn. Ultra-religious people barely read one book and think they know it all. So we explored new fields and areas of interest that were largely unknown to us. That could even be something like the arts and theater that oftentimes is, they can't do that. That's of the world.
Or it's just, it's off purpose to your Christian train. No, it's not.
That's right. Number 19 is gave up the idea of needing to accomplish something epic for God. God's going to do the universe is going to do what the universe is going to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mother Teresa ever thought she was accomplishing something epic. She was feeding the people in front of her and caring for the people that no one would touch.
Yeah.
And that way she achieved something epic.
Yes.
I think imagine if you touch the life, change the life, convince someone of how beloved they are.
Yeah.
What kind of generational impact on that? But when the church gets to define what that epic thing is, or that you must accomplish something, you're off purpose. Now your whole motive is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So nothing on that one?
Nope.
Okay. Number 20, approach my life as a reality I was free to create.
I love that. I really feel like I've been freed to do that.
Yeah.
In a way that I was not.
Yeah. Number 21, became interested and involved in the lives of people I encountered naturally along the everyday paths of life. When the blinders are off, you meet amazing people.
Yeah.
In life.
The world's full of some amazing people.
Yes. Along that lines, about away from people to stuff. Number 22, stop feeling guilty about enjoying non-religious interests, hobbies, and pleasures. We talked about that a bit earlier. So
yes.
It's a big world out there, beautiful world. Yeah. Number 23, you explored life's biggest questions outside the parameters of religion in fields such as the natural sciences, psychology, philosophy. And now that seems like such a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Of course. The answers to all these, or the big questions, of course, there's a lot of input there from a lot of different sources.
Yeah, I'm not limited to whatever I take in has to fit in this box that's already been pre-cut, pre-shaped.
And if it doesn't, I view it as a threat.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Now we're free to just understand a lot of different things.
And this is for all of us. Number 24, stopped apologizing for where I am on my spiritual journey and the beliefs I no longer hold.
Robert Minor, I love his writings that he does. He says, I'll get a message that says, well, do you believe the Son of God, blah, 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 and all this whole litany of things. And he'll just write back and say, we disagree on every point. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Bam.
Those kind of things are a trap.
Yes.
But you don't need to apologize for where you are and the beliefs you no longer hold.
Because it's really none of anybody's business.
That's
honestly.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Number 25, strengthen my relationship with myself through significant inner work and commitment to self-care. That's come up in a lot of these points here about
a lot of these
the inner work that you've done with your young, with little Susan, with all kinds of inner work with spirituality and your health
and the self-care of doing my art. I'm doing more art than I ever did in my life, and I love it. And if there's something if you want to go try pottery, or if you would like to square dance or anything, do it. Do it. At the end, you're going to die. So do the things now.
At the end of the square dancing?
No. At the end of
If that's the case, I'm doing round dancing. Where I just lie around and think in my head, hey, I'm dancing. I know what you mean. Number 26, lay down the burden of defining, labeling, fitting in, and defending my spirituality. Some of these ones here coming up to finish up are going to cross over, but we lay down the burden of needing to define this label. God's bigger than all of that, Yep. Number 27, converted my religious impulse to judge into greater compassion, acceptance, and understanding.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest joys and freedom.
Yes.
Is having compassion and acceptance and inclusion and understanding of groups that I just didn't see before.
Now
or
we
I judged
just judge the church.
We judge the system.
We do.
Not the people. We judge the system. Righteously so. Okay, number 28. Stop dividing. This is the teaching of contempt. Number 28. Stop dividing up the world into us and them, and recognize every human being as my brother and sister.
Sibling.
As
Yes.
my sibling. Yeah.
Yes.
Number 29. Buried the myth of separation, and understood our common ground of being in, from, and through which all things exist as one.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Beloved, we're not separated from God.
Yep. Or each other.
Or each other. We are all one. And finally, number 30, ceased striving for a peace, happiness, wholeness, liberation, and well-being that had to be achieved and earned. And discovered the peace, happiness, wholeness, liberation, and well-being that is our fundamental nature.
So true. So true.
That is what you deserve. That is what you are. That is who you are. That is your fundamental nature.
Come from it, not try to get to it.
Yes.
Come from your sufficiency.
Oh my gosh. What
your peace and your good enoughness.
How would that change our daily life? How would that change things to come from the peace, happiness, wholeness, liberation, and well-being that we
you already
have?
are.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
Beloved, we certainly know that this journey of deconstruction, it can be disruptive. It can be stressful. It happens when you deconstruct something that has deep roots, a deep foundation that has been brainwashed into our lives and hearts. And
You're like, these weeds again?
I know.
Yeah.
We hope that this episode reminds us all of the wonderful, freeing things that we have done and are doing and have experienced along the way.
Yes.
And
we mean all of us, not
all of us.
Not us too. We mean all of us.
Yes, yeah. And it gets better. It gets better. The more we grow, the more we, deconstruct one more thing, one old wound, whatever, the better it gets. A life, a love, a joy, a peace, a spirituality that is beyond anything we can imagine is still out there. As far as any of us have come, it's still out there. As always, beloved, we will go on this journey with you.
Yep.
We'll talk to you next week. We got a very fun personal episode as we talk about your healing, Susan, that came from the arts.
And how this is for all of us.
Yes, yes.
It's an invitation for everybody.
Yeah. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
You've been listening to the FreedHearts podcast. We have extensive resources and vibrant, inclusive community for you at freedhearts.org. Please just come say hello. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for the podcast, just email us at podcast@freedhearts.org. Audio engineering is provided by Luke Johnson. The music is provided by our daughter, Hannah Cottrell, who is Grammy nominated. You can find out more about her and her music at hannahcottrell.com. Please share, subscribe, and follow on your favorite platform, and support us if you can. Thanks for listening.